Another video and another behind the scenes here at the Film Look, and what we're doing today is unboxing a Zhiyun crane, a Zhiyun crane, whatever they're called. We've been sent one over and we're going to do a test on it. So what we're going to do is the rest of this behind the scenes video will be shot on this so we can get some practice with it. So when we do the proper review, we've actually used the unit. So we're going to switch to the Zhiyun crane in the next shot.
Right, let's talk about purchasing equipment. So Adam Savage from the Tested YouTube channel, he's also a previous Mythbuster, has a really good purchasing ethos that we as filmmakers can employ. So you want to get the cheapest, chattiest version of a tool that you can get. You're going to use it to death, so you know you're going to be using that, and then eventually that justifies you buying the most expensive one you can afford. And that's exactly what we did with our cameras. So we did this with our cameras right here. This is the Rebel T3i from Canon, and it was on the cheaper mark of the DSLR revolution. We both had pretty much the same camera and we used it to death. Almost literally, this one here is very, very used. After that point, we decided we're actually going to be using these cameras quite a bit. Let's get something that has a bit of sharpness and a lot more filmmaking capabilities. So then we bought the A7S, we bought some cages to go with it, we upgraded the batteries, and there's actually a card about that just here. It's going to explain about upgrading your camera battery, and we've even got one about the cage battles here as well.
So we applied the same ethos to our shoulder rig. At first we had one of these, a Spider Steady. A lot of filmmakers had with a DSLR and a microphone, but after a while, once you've used them for a long period of time, all of the attachments start to break, the plastic starts to come away, and it's not as steady as you would like. And then when you start adding more equipment onto the rig, you definitely need to upgrade to something more. So what we did is we started to customize our own rig from a company called Small Rig. What you can do is you can buy loads of individual products and they're really high quality, but they won't break the bank. As soon as you start adding more equipment, you definitely need to upgrade to something like this, because you know, if you've got an expensive camera on, you need something that will hold that as well. So kind of go from this, know that you're going to use it, to something like this which you can customize and is still cheap.
Yep, still on the gimbal. Right, so I've got an episode that I'm writing. It's about writing, and it is all about dialogue and how dialogue, if you replace it with an action, you then have this vacant space to put in some character development dialogue. And one of the ways I wanted to change the way that this looks is just cutouts, cartoons, some shoddy cartoons with speech bubbles, and it's a conversation between our character Jimmy and our other character Mandy.
The video we made this week was about this cart. We take it on our short films and use it in the studio. We saw batteries on it, clips, gels, everything like that. Some of the comments we had are about how we transport this. Do we take it all apart? Do we have a van? No, we don't. What we do is we take everything off it, put it into this bag here, and then transport both together in a normal size car. So I'm going to show you how we do that right now.
So sometimes you try to buy a really cheap piece of equipment and it's actually just a really good product. One of these is the 160 LED. They're like an LED panel, battery powered with the batteries that we use, and they haven't broke yet. We use them all the time and they're just a really good, cheap product, and we won't be upgrading these until they literally fall apart. And also, get in the comments down below if you guys have a story on things you've purchased, things you didn't like, camera equipment you've wasted your money on, or if there's any cheap things that you think have really good value.
So some of our first thoughts on the gimbal. It's really fun to use. You know, you could get shots like this following someone and it should be steady. It kind of opens up like a lot of dynamic movement when you're walking around, but you do need to control that with blocking. So if you want to make it cinematic, you need to, oops, there's a dip there. If you want to make it cinematic, you can do that. You have to get used to the way it responds as well. So you have to figure out where you're going to go and the way the camera works as well. But all about that cinematic movement, you need it to be motivated.
Yeah, so obviously it does take a little bit of work to get right, especially when you hot swap between them. If you guys have any gimbal tips, leave them in the comments down below, because we've only been using this handheld Zhiyun crane for like 2 days, so we're not very great at it yet, but we are going to practice as much as we can, and then hopefully we'll put out a review and then maybe put some like gimbal tip videos together. And as always, thank you for watching the film look, and we'll see you on Tuesday.